We live in trying times, great struggle between the progressives in this country who want to make the world a better place and the group they're supposed to be helping. Why are Latinos having to come out and tell woke white progressives to stop anglicizing their culture? It's almost like the woke white progressives are the racist ones. Here's the story. It's an opinion piece from USA Today. Progressives, Hispanics are not Latinx. Stop trying to anglicize our Spanish language. Not only that, but Latinx sounds like Kleenex, and I don't think that's like a positive connotation. The other issue I have is, how are you supposed to speak a gendered language if you replace everything with an O? Are you going to call your dog a Perex? Like, that doesn't make any sense. They're only changing the word, and here's the best part. First, I saw this story because it was shared on Facebook by some of my Hispanic friends who are like, stop doing this to us. It's kind of this cultural imperialism, right? That's what it's called. And these woke progressives believe that they should have their view on culture injected into other cultures while simultaneously arguing against imperialism and for multiculturalism. No, I must stop you right now, woke progressive left. Listen, I'll read the story. But if you go around as a woke white person telling Hispanic people to change their language, that is not multiculturalism. It is quite literally monoculturalism, because you are forcing other cultures to bend to your perspective. In a true multicultural society, you will have Latinos, you will have Hispanic speakers, and their culture will not be changed by you. So it's really funny how it's kind of like, it's projection. You know, they often say that these people project on other people, and I think it's fair to say that's true. I've noticed that many of the woke white people that I know are extremely racist. And I don't mean in the sense that like being woke itself is racist. I mean, they're literally racists, okay? Like, I talk to some of these snooty elite people and they're like talking about minority communities as though they're stupid, poor people who can't help themselves. Like, they're literally racist. They actually believe they are superior and that they're guilty about it. So they do things like this. Okay, let's read the story. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work or just share this video. It's the best thing you can do. I try to keep these shorter from now on. But seriously, sharing really, really does help. My views are going down. YouTube's deranking. We're expanding. We're potentially getting this new building. I just announced the other day I'm looking for a vlog producer. So if for some reason, you know what, if you want to produce vlogs, the goal is to plan events, go skating, and film some stuff. So you're probably going to need, you know, it's going to be some knowledge of skateboarding, video games, and filming and editing. Send me an email, tim@timcast.com. Please include your portfolio. But let's read. When Yale professor Sidney Dupree and her colleague analyzed more than 2 decades worth of political speeches and conducted experiments searching for bias when communicating with racial minorities, they were surprised by what they discovered. According to their report, published this year in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, conservatives generally addressed whites and minorities similarly. But liberals were likelier to modify their speech and patronize minorities stereotyped as lower status and less competent. It is so annoying when I tell my friends, you know, I got into an argument with a friend recently who is a progressive, white, upper class, and they're trying to tell me how I should think about racism. And I'm like, dude, listen, okay? Listen, you have no idea what you're talking about. And they always say to me, Tim, you're passing, therefore you're, no, full stop. You have no idea what my experiences are. I grew up on the South Side. The whole community was various races. We dealt with some stuff, man. You can't come and tell me, but that's what they do. It is the most annoying and frustrating thing. Talk to Candace Owens about it, okay? Because she knows better than I do. It is true that sometimes people will see me and just assume I'm white. But I typically find in these communities, that's not the case. They typically assume I'm Latino, and I'm not. I'm Korean and white. So I understand the concept of passing. The problem is these people twist it, and they ruin it, to say the least. Let's read on. Dupree cautioned that although liberals might be well-intentioned and see themselves as allies, they could be unwittingly contributing to racial division by dumbing down their language. In light of minorities understandably feeling marginalized, journalists, corporations, and politicians would be wise to heed the professor's warning. Instead, they're ignoring it. One of the most notable examples of corporate America and politicians changing how they speak to ingratiate themselves with minorities, no, It's to ingratiate themselves with the woke left. Because listen, the woke left in this country is about 30%, sort of. Okay, let me back up. White liberals in this country are shy of 30%. Of that, most of them just say whatever you say, don't know much about anything, and are just going to follow through. But the progressive activists are 8% of this country, which means they're a larger portion of the liberals as a whole. Those people are loud. They're squeaky wheels. They're getting all the grease. And so you see Elizabeth Warren and Beto O'Rourke doing all of these things. And then you have confused Latinos and Hispanic individuals in this country saying, what is Latinx? You sound like you're blowing your nose. But they're not saying it to you because Latinos make up what, like 13 to 14% of the country? Maybe it's more, maybe like 15. And progressive liberals, well, actually, that's of them, of that group, you break out how many are progressives, and it's actually relatively small. But Beto O'Rourke is trying to get votes from white people. He's not talking to Latinos, okay? One of the most notable examples of corporate America and politicians changing how they speak to ingratiate themselves is Latinx. What began in the 2000s among activists has now gained currency among marketers, media personalities, and progressives. The intentions behind Latinx may be benign, but as the son of immigrants who grew up in a community with English-only ordinances, I am among the many Americans who considered an absurd anglicization of a language that generations struggled to conserve. And there it is. You see what's happening? Beto, Warren, these other people who say Latinx, they're not talking to the Latino community. They're talking to the progressive community, which is overwhelmingly white. And there it is. They want their view, their cultural view, injected upon a massive community, the second most commonly spoken. Is it second? Okay, no, maybe it's the third. Spanish, I think, might be. No, might be second now. One of the most commonly spoken languages in the world, Spanish. And these white progressives in the US think they're being progressive by telling a minority in this country, here's what you must say, or here's the right way to say it. But it's really just a bunch of white people talking to white people. And that's what's really, really funny about all of this. They act like, they're so similar to the white nationalists in so many ways. Progressives argue that Latinx fixes the gendered nature of Spanish, which they maintain is unfair to women and excludes individuals who do not identify as male or female. It is true that nouns are gendered in Spanish, but it is unclear what, if any, problem this poses to Americans. English is not grammatically gendered. Latinos is inclusive in both languages, and substitutes like Latin and Hispanic can adequately describe the population that is Latino and non-binary. Taken to its logical conclusion, a push for gender-neutral Spanish nouns requires dismantling a language spoken by 572 million people across the world. Full stop. It's not just that, okay? Think about, there's an argument that in Spanish, they say todos, meaning everybody, right? So you got the Biden campaign, todos con Biden. Whoa, Biden. You said todos. That's a male word. Are you saying only all of the men with Biden? Why didn't you say todos y todas, which todas is all the women with an A? It's because the language, in a sense, is technically, you could argue, favoring women. Now hear me out. There was this big thing that happened a while ago. I don't know much about it because it was told to me by an Argentinian friend that the prime minister, president, or whatever of Argentina said todos y todas, which means everyone and every woman. And apparently that was considered controversial because todos is the word that means everyone, and it's male, but it does include females. Think about what that means. It means you have one word that means everyone and another word that means only women. There is no word for only men. The argument they're presenting, in my opinion, is actually a matriarchal, is that there's a matriarchy. Why do women get special qualifiers to talk about them, but not the men, right? Well, they argue the inverse. They say todos is masculine, and they just lump the women in with it. No. That means you can describe all people with one word, or all women, but not all men. So essentially, the controversy, I guess, again, I don't know much about the story, I'm not from Argentina, was that she essentially said, everyone and all of the women. It's like, wait. You already said everyone. So now they want to get rid of the O. So what would you say, Todexes? Like, Todexes, con Biden. No, that you can't do that. And therein lies the big problem with this. Now I'll stop right here. I know a little bit of Spanish. I used to know a lot more because I grew up in a Spanish-speaking area in the south side of Chicago. But hey, don't take it from me. I saw this from some of my Southside Chicago friends posting on Facebook complaining that these woke white people are trying to tell them. The other thing I want to point out too is that the people I know from my community, because it was very, very Hispanic, they're very Christian. They're not super conservative. They're fairly moderate because they are very Christian, and this bothers them. And I'll tell you what, man, if anything is going to get them to vote for Trump, it's going to be this. It's going to be when Biden and Warren say Todexes, and they're going to be like, what did you just say? Imagine if, like, I know it's not perfect because English isn't gendered, but imagine if instead of saying everyone, they said every person. You'd be like, oh, that sounds kind of weird. But the thing about the X is that they're not saying people. What if they said, like, the Pueblos or whatever, the people? You'd understand what that meant. So when Trudeau says people kind, those are words. What if Trudeau says X kind? You'd be like, I don't know this. Well, X is inclusive of all species. You'd be like, what, X kind? Like, what does that mean? What if someone said, welcome every X? You'd be like, every X? What does that mean? Is the X a reference to women? It is, right? No, everybody has an X, so I guess that's the point. I have no idea what they're doing. They write, some maintain that Spanish is insufficiently woke. Marketers are now targeting Latinx consumers. Senator Elizabeth Warren marked Hispanic Heritage Month by promising in English and Spanish to champion Latinx families. Wow. Thanks. But marketing executives and politicians should understand that many of our families do not want to be called Latinx. The fact that the word is controversial makes its usage especially strange, since modern social norms discourage applying loaded terms to minority groups. You know what, man? I'm curious. There's a disparaging word for Koreans. I have no problem saying it because it's my family. I mean, we've talked about this stuff. I can't say it on YouTube, though, even in reference to myself. But I was talking to a friend and I said, what if I told you from now on I want to be referred to by this word? It's a very offensive slur for Korean people. I was told, no way, I'm not going to say that because someone else could hear and it would be offensive to them. And I said, but what about Latinx? What about, Z-Zer? That's offensive to people. Well, that's different, they say, because that's trying. No. You have to recognize that everything you say at any point could be offensive to somebody. Now, I understand Z and Zer is not intended to insult. However, it doesn't matter what your intention is. It matters if someone is offended. That's their argument, right? And the proof is in the pudding. You have the Netflix executive who got fired for describing the N-word. We recently had a teacher. I don't have the story pulled up. You have to look into it because I didn't read most of it. I just saw the headline. But something about a teacher saying, don't call me the N-word, and they got fired for saying the N-word. There was one class where a professor was describing historical use of the word and said it. Teacher got in trouble. The point is, they don't care about context. Okay, if that's the case, Latinx is offensive. It's right here on USA Today. They're telling you it's offensive. Therefore, Latinx is a slur. Uh-oh. YouTube's going to ban me. I said a naughty word. At what point does YouTube determine enough people are offended by Latinx that this video gets banned? You see the inherent problem with all of the speech policing? I'll tell you what, man. USA Today, Giancarlo Sopo, a contributor to a major national publication, has just said, do not call us this, okay? From now on, anybody who says this is a bigot. YouTube, I demand, no, wait, stop, don't ban me. But this is a really good point to bring up in the discussion about words and stuff, in that if the progressives, the small minority of this country, determine this is not offensive, then everybody can use it. I can say it. I can say Latinx over and over and over again, even though they're offended by it. Yep, even though it's offensive, belittling and anglicizing their culture, which is cultural imperialism, don't matter. Elizabeth Warren said so. We're allowed to say it. But I'll tell you what, I can't use a word historically used to disparage my community because it has been deemed by the progressives to be a no-no word. Well, how is that fair? Why can't I speak about this? I can't, right? You can easily look up, there's like one word for Koreans, okay? And I wonder why it's not fair that Latinos can be offended by this, but we're all allowed to say it. And I can't say a word to describe, to talk about. Listen, this word I'm talking about using about Koreans, I would like to say it in an educational context to tell you what it is, but I can't. Because YouTube transcribes speech, it'll pop up in the text, YouTube will derank this, and all of these really bad things will happen. Not Latinx, I assure you. In fact, because I've said Latinx so many times, it's probably going to run a bunch of ads for traditionally Hispanic, items in stores and things like that. Because that's fine. Because the marketing companies, the progressive, said so. But hey, I'm not allowed to talk about my community. Yep. Welcome to 2019. Well, we're only about a month away, 2 months away from 2020. But this is the new decade. Maybe it'll go away. I have no idea. But I'll tell you this, Giancarlo, I'm really sorry. I really doubt anything you say will change these people because they are not Hispanic for the most part. They are mostly progressive white individuals with college degrees making more than six figures, telling all of us, mixed race, minority, immigrant, what we should or shouldn't believe. It's hilarious when they disparage Candace Owens. How dare you argue that we must step back and listen to the minority communities, except her, except Kanye? No, it doesn't work that way. They don't actually care. They're just racist, in my opinion. They are bigoted racists, cultural imperialists who believe they should be able to tell other communities what to believe and how to behave, and it's hilariously paradoxical. Well, there you go. I'll wrap it up there. You get the point. Look at this. What happened to multiculturalism? That's what I was saying. Rather than making Latinos feel included, progressives are implying the way our families speak is fundamentally inadequate for the U.S. and progressive American culture. This is offensive to the 85% of Hispanics who, like my parents, speak Spanish to their children and whose most treasured heirlooms are often family traditions and memories in Spanish. Mine included the mellifluous sound of the baritone voice of my abuelo, mom's favorite boleros, and dad's military stories. Bigot! It's abuelex. It's bolerexes. Has their language joined the ranks of comedian Dave Chappelle, the Betsy Ross flag, and the interminable list of people and things that perturb our politically correct sensibilities? This is a great article, by the way, man. You know what? The way I see it is, talk the way you want to talk. I mean, for the most part. Don't go around saying super offensive things. And I do want to end by saying this. An apology to the writer. I pronounced your name incorrectly. You can see it written here. I said earlier Giancarlo Sopo. Let me correct that to Giancarlex Sopix. Thanks for I'll see you guys at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out.